even thought about it, but that might make a pretty cool instrumental someday. We'll get talking about that a little bit later. It is it's the day after St. Patrick's Day. I'm still wearing my green shirt. I just finished off the leftover corned beef from last night. Hope everybody had a nice St. Patrick's Day. Kind of an odd, well, around here, it's sort of like Cinco de Mayo in California. Everybody has to, like, drink a lot. Kind of weird. Oh well, we just had corned beef and watched the Giants game, but that was pretty fun. Let's see. So today is, it's got to be March 18th. I think last week I thought we were still in February, but anyway. I got a few things I want to talk about. I hope everybody is, I hope spring is starting to show up in your part of the world. We had it's been pretty warm here also again back in California. Not today so much, but let's see. I want to talk a little bit about the motivation thread. Thanks, Michelle, for putting out something real thought-provoking again. And let's see, the songs. Oh, and we'll talk about Dan Hicks a little bit. And again, last week, another death in the music world. Boy, it's happened like I guess the day right after the news last week. But man, Keith Emerson. Big impact on a lot of people, and I just always loved those guys. I mean, for some reason, big pompous. I don't know. It was Pictures at an Exhibition when that album, which came out right around the same time as their first album. I was knocked out. Thought it was one of the coolest things ever. And of course, it had. Oh, I have no chance of remembering this now. Go back and look at that lesson, learn that song again. Oh man, there's all cool. All right. Back to the task at hand. What do we have this week? Ear training. Little stuff on the Lobo song, and I think people got that. I'm gonna while we're talking about Me and You and a Dog Named Boo, I think I'm gonna do a couple more of those. Well, one of them's really easy. So I hope if you guys listen to I'd Love You to Want Me. So yeah. That's the easy one. The other one, Don't Expect Me to Be Your Friend, is a little bit more complicated. But so if you enjoyed Me and You and a Dog Named Boo, and especially the listening approach to it, check out those two, which I probably mentioned in the lesson anyway. So the other thing that a few weeks ago I got on, well no, this wasn't a few weeks ago. Yeah, I guess it was. I thought, I did get a couple requests to finish up the Toulouse Street lesson, and very unusual. I hadn't really thought about the second guitar part that much, but it's in an open G tuning. Fairly easy to play if you've got some fingerpicking experience. But so we added that this week as well. And then a lot of odds and loose ends kind of happened today. We had to finish up Ed's caged lesson yesterday. I mean, that went up yesterday, and we got the rest of it up today because it was just too long. I couldn't get it all finished yesterday and get it ready before the mice all went to bed. So or signed off for the night, I guess. And that lesson had just so much stuff in it that usually I kind of shorten the lesson, just put in parts that are particularly that I think might be useful. But boy, in that one we just talked about so much different stuff, some slide guitar stuff, and he was in an open G tuning the whole time, but we really talked about the capo and understanding how it works. It really is simple if you just think about how far apart each of those are and the order they're in, C, A, G, E, D. It just is a matter of moving to the next one in that list, which is, of course, just working backwards through the alphabet, and or through our scale, and then the capo goes that much higher. So if I want to play in the key of D, the first thing I could do is play in D here. Then I could go into the key of C, which is a whole step lower, put the capo at the second. Then I'd use the A family, or the A shapes, so A is a step and a half below C, so I have to go to the 5th fret. Gotta go. And continuing, we'd use the G shapes at the next one, and it would be another whole step there, so I'd have to be at the 7th fret. And I'd have to go 3 frets higher there to the 10th fret, and I'd use the E shapes, or the E family. So, anyway, that's a really useful thing for working out second guitar parts. Now, Toulouse Street second guitar part goes nothing like that. It's just a completely independent part that Patrick put together for to sound really cool. Anyway, one of my favorite songs. Okay, so that was the kind of the new stuff for the week. I have not been playing too much. Been working on always going back to my exercise. Whoa, that was terrible. Yeah, see, out of shape. Take a week off, or not so much a week off, but don't do any of this hard stuff for a week. And things just get terrible. So let's see. The two things on the forum I want to talk about that were kind of cool. The Dennis bringing up the G chord. At first, it made it sound like it was going to be a complaint, but it was like a recommendation that that's a good thing to do. So you know, when what lesson was I looking at? I don't know. I was watching somebody on YouTube, and they were doing a really quick change from G to C, and they were using this G, and I'm thinking, man, that's just setting yourself up for failure with that. So it really is worth working on this, and so glad you agree. Let's see, the motivation thread that Michelle started. So that was really interesting, and I think a couple things, because a few people brought up, Jason and Michelle brought up that IGC kind of gets them motivated, and I could vouch for that for like 3 of my students, Ed, Sandy, and Ron Blue, who I see pretty all regularly, are all like planning out all the stuff they want to have together for camp. Like 6 months from now. Is it 6 months? Pretty close, I guess, right? 5 months. Anyway, and they're working on great things. So it really has kind of driven them to new lengths. Some are working on very obscure songs. Okay, I don't want to give too much of that one away, but anyway, and so it is really neat that people are really thinking about, you know what, this time I want to have that together. I want to collaborate with somebody on this song, and so it's neat to hear that that's what people are looking forward to. The other thing is, one thing I noticed that a lot of people, new stuff always is a motivator too. I've had people ask me, it's like, I've been thinking about buying a new guitar, but I haven't been playing much lately, and I don't think I'll do it, and I won't, so I say, well, what will probably happen is, if you go buy a new guitar, you'll probably start playing a lot. Maybe not just out of guilt, but maybe because it's fun to have this new thing happening. So, anyway, I guess I should think about that question. What motivates me to improve? It's like always wanting to play things better. I've been suffering with this one for over a year, and I haven't played it in a couple days, but let me see what happens. Look at that. Terrible. That's what it's supposed to sound like. Nails today. Never mind. But that piece actually kind of keeps me, kind of haunts me, because it's getting there, but this part still didn't work. There we go. Getting there. You probably heard me mess with that a year ago, but okay. So let's see. Last thing I want to get to today is the progression to "How Can I Miss You When You Won't Go Away?" because it does something really unusual. So I hope I got a couple of responses from people that kind of had it figured out, and one was kind of unusual because the question was, how many parts are there? Well, it opens up with something strange, and that is the first chord is not chord 1. It's in the key of D. But the very first thing we hear is chord 5. So it's going from 5 to 1. Now what we heard there there. So that was 5 and 1 back and forth in the key of D. Everybody's with me as far as what chords they were? And then we end up getting to a chord, a 7th chord, not in the key. And you know what that is, right? We call it a secondary dominant. So we have dominant chord of chord 2 in the key. So we would call this 5-7 of 2. Expecting it to go to 2. It doesn't. It goes to another 7th chord with the same root as 2. So we're not even going to call this chord 2. We're going to call it 5-7, a 7th chord built on 5, of the next place it's going, which is 5. Got that? So we have 5-7 of 2, followed by 5-7 of 5, followed by 5. And that heads into the chorus. So the verse, you got that? 5, 1. 5 and 1, back and forth. 5 of 2, 5 of 5, 5. Chromatic passing tone taking us into the chorus, starting on 4. 1, 4. So great little progression where the verse has 5 and 1 back and forth, and the chorus has 4 and 1, and has the same ending. But gets back to 1 right away. So there are only 2 parts to that song. What happens when it goes into the instrumental? It sounds pretty different. But if you can tune out the instruments, the guitar, the leads, and there's a piano lead, I think, too. If you can tune those out, because they're playing different melodies, which makes it sound different. But the chord progression is the same. Pay attention to the bass. That's always the key. So you're still listening for this. Anyway, it's a great chord progression. Okay, what's happening next week? I don't know. Won't know until we get there. But I'll see you then.